Hi everyone, this is Korosh Erfani, and we are on Thursday, November 2025. This is the second video that I am publishing today, and the reason is that there is something very interesting that has happened today. We had a very bizarre and odd phenomenon in the stock market. You can see in this post, for example, it said today's market dump makes absolutely no sense. The people were very confused about what's going on. S&P 500 wiped out 1.5 trillion in value from today's high. Bitcoin dropped to $87,000. Crypto market cap is below 2.95 trillion. And the craziest part, there wasn't a single negative headline today. No policy surprise, no new recession warning, no tariffs or bad earning. So even there were several positive news, for example, regarding the job markets. So the people are asking what's going on, what's happening exactly, why we lost more than $1.5 trillion of value of cap market in just a few hours. So in order to answer to this question, I would like to go to this article. You can find it right now here and there, talking about a change in the financial policy of Japan regarding the United States economy. As you can see, the title is America's Sugar Daddy Just Went Broke and You Are Stuck with the Bill. So what's going on? The reality is that for almost 40 years, the United States had a kind of financial sugar daddy, right? Japan was there to buy the U.S. Treasury bonds, and that helped effectively the American economy to have a kind of spending, possibility, paying debt, and having the low interest rates. Of course, Japan was effectively getting more and more bonds with the perspective of getting profit from the US Treasury bonds. But right now, something is changing, right? And it looks like that we cannot wait for the continuation of the situation. They cannot continue for the simple reason that the Japanese economy is changing, and from that moment, of course, Japan has started to dump its bonds in the United States market, and of course, the U.S. Treasury has to pay back for these bonds. And that's why we have more and more serious problems in the market and very soon in the economy. We should know that Japan has some $1.2 trillion dollars of the U.S. treasuries. Okay, so the highest level. That's the first country that holds that amount of money, and the second one is China. Now there is effectively something that is getting modified in the economic system of Japan, and that's why they started to sell that. The first reason is that for the first time after decades in the Japanese market, now the people can earn money thanks to the Japanese bond yields, okay? Which means that the Japanese treasury is issuing the bonds that the Japanese company can buy and can make the profit over that instead of buying, the U.S. treasuries. So for the first time, this is happening. For decades and decades, the Japanese treasury was yielding almost zero. That was 0% or even under zero. So that's why the people who wanted to make their money work came effectively to the United States to buy these treasuries bonds and get money, as the profit and the benefit of these bonds. So this is no longer the case, and the reason is very simple, because not only the Japanese economy started to issue the treasuries that are paid, but also there are the regulations that are pushing the banks and the insurance company, to bring money back into Japan. Somehow it's a new policy of the new government, effectively the government that showed itself very friendly to Trump administrations, but we can see that it's not the case really, and they have the Japanese have their own agenda, and they are getting their money back, and we are talking about a huge amount of more than $1 trillion. We should know that only for just one quarter, the Japanese were dumping nearly $62 billion in U.S. treasuries. $62 billion in a quarter, and imagine that it's going on. And the analysts are talking about the full exit, right? The full exit of the American credit, the Japanese creditor from the American markets. So the full exit means that they don't want to have any more the huge amount of money just stuck here in the United States. They want to get their money back in order to work on this. So one of the reasons is because Japan has an aging population, and there are dozens of millions of people who are in retirement, and they must be paid, they must be taken care for the healthcare and anything else, and the Japanese need their money back effectively. So that's why from the moment they start effectively to dump these treasuries, we have several issues in the American economy. One of them is effectively what we see in the stock market, but there would be much more, because from now on, borrowing money costs much more in the United States than before, which means that we are going to have higher mortgage rates. We are going to have the APRs for the credit cards, and that will be higher effectively. The loan, any kind of loan will be more expensive than before. And of course, the US government now has to pay more for interest if it wants to borrow money from the Federal Reserve or any other bank. So all of this means that the Japanese are effectively shaking the American economy. And we are talking about a period of time where the American economy is already in a very fragile situation because of the tariff war and other, chaotic policies of Trump administration. And that's the reason why we should be waiting for more volatility. Most probably the situation become more versatile, more volatile, and the people cannot really hope any good perspective in the short run, at least, because something is changing that was reliable for the United States economy for 40 years. And the Japanese now are changing the rules of the game. They want their money back, and we are talking about of $1.3 trillion, $1.2 to $3 trillion, and it means that we must be waiting for a gloomy and dark situation in the American economy, most probably for 2026. So that was for explaining not as the only cause. Of course, there are many other causes, but this one can explain the reason for which we started to have a serious financial bleeding, for the stock markets in the United States. And the people who don't know about that cannot realize why and what's happening exactly to cause this kind of loss that we saw. $1.5 trillion in the value of the S&P just for one day. We are talking about November 2025. So I think that's one of the reason we must be waiting for not only the economic consequences of that, because we are talking about the economy, but it won't be only the economic results and consequences, but also social and political one, because the people will have access to a higher, to a more expensive money for doing anything, for home loan, car loan, and any mortgage will be higher, rising, and of course, it can create the condition for inflation on the one hand and stagnation on the other hand. You remember in one of the precedent videos, I was talking about the possibility of having stagflation in the United States in 2026. And if it happens effectively, we can experience for the first time after decades, the recession, the economic recession in the United States. So that's why, despite all the propaganda machine of the Trump administration about the golden age, of course, we can be, leading or heading toward a very bad situation. Some analysts are talking about, even based on this decision and the unprecedented and maybe a historic decision of the Japanese government, the Japanese economy regarding the American economy, talking about the financial Armageddon, So that's why it's serious. And I hope that I can have more videos on the evolution of the market, the volatility that is happening right now in the stock market and in the economy, American economy in general. And of course, we are for now talking about, by and large, the very shaky situation in the economy. But more precisely, we will see what's interesting to me personally as a sociologist is the social impact and then the political consequences of this economic situation. Thank you very much for watching this video.